Man, yeah, it's definitely been a minute since I recorded a video. It's probably been like a month. A little bit of backstory. Oh yeah, got the little secret package right here. All right, so anyway, the reason I probably hadn't recorded a video in probably a month is basically I was a little burnt out, got family issues and stuff going on and stuff like that. And everyone knows family always comes first. Cars, hobbies, no one really cares. All that stuff can like really go away for all I care, but like family really comes first. And like that really hit home with Daddy Dave on his YouTube channel. I think he had someone in his close family pass away and stuff like that, and what he said really hit it on home because family comes first and like cars and hot rods and all that stuff can come last. So anyway, just want to give a big shout out to my brother Mike. Hope everything gets well and stuff like that. I don't know if I should put it in the video, but I guess I can put it out there in the world to let them know that I love them and stuff like that, and we all care about them. So, you know, big brother, you know, he's the middle brother. I call him Big Brother. Big Brother Mike, I hope everything gets better for you in your life, man. We all love you, and we're always going to be there for you, and I love you too. So, on with the car stuff, guys. So, on with the car stuff. All right, so this is what's been going on. You know, the car sits outside, so our exhaust is bagged up from rainwater. We got the thermal blanket on. I found the springs. Those are springed up. We got our, that's going to be our wideband right there. So basically off the old Pontiac V6 motor, basically I cut the flange off, welded it on there, and that's an O2 sensor basically blocking up the port. God, it feels so good to be making videos and stuff again. I'm probably going to remove the catch can, as you can see right there, because I had the exhaust off and I mounted the catch can. Goofy me, as you can see, like that hose is going to be resting on top of there. I don't know, I may leave it there, I may not. 90% sure I'm not going to leave it there. All right, so everything's hooked up, and hooked up. I still have to do the power wires for the internals of the fuse box and stuff like that, but everything is all hooked up and ready to go. The only thing that I had to do is that I was basically waiting on this. Like, the back order for much stuff is like totally ridiculous. Like, I had to go to Amazon. Big shout out to Amazon. This video's not sponsored, by the way. I needed fuel injector O-rings for some odd reason. Basically, I popped in the bigger injectors into the fuel rails. I mounted everything down, and I believe a lot of people will probably have this issue that next thing you know, you go to prime the system, because I think in the GM computers, it automatically gives you like a 2-second prime. So I'm priming up the system, get ready to fire up the engine, put in the bass tune and stuff like that. Boom, psh, like the car's like pissing gasoline. I'm like, what the hell is that? I was leaking fuel from the O-ring, basically where the O-ring sits on top of the ejector. Better yet, let me actually just show you guys, like once I break everything down, and show you the new O-rings and stuff like that. So I'm gonna get everything out the package. I'm gonna start popping out the old injectors, and I'm gonna give you guys a better visual understanding of what's going on. All right, man, I really feel good. I really feel good. Probably because it's the progress of the engine, and I'm back to recording videos. And a lot of people have been buying t-shirts. That's great. So one thing you guys can count on when it comes to me is that I used to be a Ford fan. Yeah, that's right, I said it in video, but now I am a Chevy guy. I used to always love the sound of the 454, but like LS engines, man, are like so freaking easy. They're very temperamental, but they're so easy. And I'm gonna let you guys know this. This is what I was waiting on. As you can see, genuine, I don't know why I keep doing this to myself. Like, these O-rings are like thicker. They're going to give you like a tighter seal. Okay, the blue ones are, let me see. The blue ones go on the top. Let me see if I can probably walk this out right here, right now, without breaking it. No, I can't. So the brown O-ring, as you can see, is going to go right here. And that's the part number right there for the injectors that I have, 50-pound injectors. Not going wild or anything like that. It's going to allow me to do my novice of tuning. Let's see if I can get this out without breaking anything. Now I'm going to need both hands. Give me a second. All right, pop the injector out. It wasn't hard. Basically, you just had to slip it out, which is weird because it's like, I just got some regular old run-of-the-mill O-rings, and you can see, like, look at that. They should not be doing that. But yet, it's actually a little bit looser than they were when I put them in. So yeah, they should definitely not be doing that. So as you can see, the blues, the blue O-rings are gonna go up top. The brown rings are gonna go down to the bottom. Like, look at them. If I didn't know any better, I would say these O-rings are probably used and repackaged. Like, what the hell? Like, you cannot reuse O-rings, fuel injector O-rings. You can't, especially if you're doing a big job, fuel injector job and stuff like that. It's worth to spend like the extra $10, $20, or wherever it may be to put in some new O-rings. All right, so anyway, always go factory GM. So this is really the holdup of partially why I haven't recorded a video, because I was waiting on injector O-rings, and like I was probably getting ready to say a couple minutes ago, like, no hate on the big box companies like Jegs, Summit, and stuff like that. Like, the backdating order was like so long on these things. Like, it was just ridiculous. And yes, a lot of people are going to say, well, dude, like, go down to AutoZone or Advance and stuff like that. They were talking like a week, 2 weeks. So I was like, hey, you know what? I order everything else from Amazon. See if Amazon got them. Order them from Amazon. 3 days. 3 freaking days. And that was with Prime shipping. So that's the hold up right there. That's the thumbnail, baby. Yeah, that's the thumbnail. But in the meantime, everyone's probably going to know what's going on inside the cockpits. All right, so headlight switches, I'm probably going to mount like down there, and they're probably going to sit inside of a box. We got the dash panel in. We got the ignition switch all plumbed up. Everything's all cleaned up. And that's a spare. That black panel right there is basically my original one. That panel is actually thicker, so like I may put that in storage and see if I want to keep this one, because this one was like going to be my template, but I left it up. Also, you can see that we got our shifter in place. Ooh, baby, I love this freaking shifter. It's well worth the money. I loved it. Also, as normal, while I was recapping, we still got to get the drive shaft dropped off at the drive shaft shop. We got to clean up the trunk, because everything was like installed with the hopes of cleaning up things later on. Fuel cell, 10-gallon fuel cell, name brand Interstate battery. We got a 12-volt battery that's kicking out like 14 volts. That thing is ready to go. So you guys can see that the interior is coming along. Transmission is in. Transmission trans cooler is in. The shifter is in. So really what we're waiting on is for me to get these fuel injector rings in. I really need to go back to recording on my GoPro. Just using the iPhone is like quicker. And then like you can edit the videos too on the phone. So yeah, look at that, look at that, look at that comparison. Hold on now. What the hell? What the hell? We may have a problem here. That's definitely not looking right. It's definitely not looking right. But you can see that the blues are thicker than the browns. All right, so we're still gonna try this out. We're still gonna try this out. Because that is definitely the issue. Because, you guys probably see it right back there. I'm trying to focus. That O-ring, that blue O-ring for that injector is leaking. That blue O-ring for that injector is leaking. And, which is weird because this one and that one is leaking. And the other two that one in the back is fine, and this one up here is fine. So maybe these cheap O-rings are working, but they're just not as snug. Or maybe I don't know. I'll inspect it to make sure I didn't rip them or tear them or anything like that. But I did use a little bit of a silicone spray. Some people recommend using fuel. Some people recommend using like engine oil. I just use like a little bit of silicone spray. Why? Because it lubes it up enough for you to get the item in there, and then it immediately dries. Like oil is gonna linger, and gasoline, no one really wants to like, you know, lube stuff up with gasoline. That's more like an old school method. All right, so I got my pick here. Just gonna pop that off, pop that one on, pop the new ones on. I'm gonna do all of them for good measure, of course. Why? Because I paid for it. And then we're gonna pressurize the system, see what happens. Hopefully nothing leaks. All right, so guys, just give me a couple minutes. I'm gonna pop these on. It's probably gonna take me like 30 minutes because I like to do things slow. So this is what I've discovered. You guys see that nice little mess down there? Yeah, we're leaking fuel. Still. So I've discovered, if you basically look closely, you can probably kind of see the moisture coming from the injector. What I found out, do not buy house brand fuel injector rails. Yeah, that's what it is. So in a sense now, what I discovered, because, let me actually think about this before I say something. So this may be possibly one of the exemptions where a cheaper brand, knockoff brand, may actually be better, because I'm looking at the fuel injector O-rings, may actually be kind of better than the GM part, which is kind of weird, but I mean, things like that do happen. All right, so from what I gather, man, this is probably the first time that Jegs has ever let me down. The bores where the fuel injector slides into, the bores on the fuel injector are bigger, or are a tad bit bigger, because what I discovered when I was pulling out that rear injector, like I told you guys, the one that was leaking. Let me show you. So remember, basically it was the main one in the back. I mean, they're all leaking, that's the problem. But this one in the back, number 8 or whatever, number 7, was like leaking so bad. So as I took all the injectors out, I'm popping them out. Remember how like I was up here with the first one, I couldn't even do it with one hand? And then I'm getting to the back and I get to the problematic one, and that one basically like just came out. So I'm like, dude, what the hell? And as you see, let me get, all right, here we go. We're gonna leave that one there, and we're gonna get a GM one out of the plastic here. So like just looking at it like that, like just looking at him laid out, you can see that the ching chong is slightly thicker. Let me give you, it's probably a better, see that? That's what you want. You want like a big, thick, I'm trying to line them up here in my 2 hands. There you go. Yeah, it's like, I can't even say that's a mil, but that's like a hair bigger, a couple hairs bigger, a couple beard hairs bigger than the actual GM ones that I have purchased, which is weird. So anyway, this is going back to the house brand Jegs fuel injector rail, that the bore spacing for the fuel injector is bored way too big. Because like even with that thicker injector ring, it still came right out. All the other ones I had to like pull on, snug on, like these don't leak, these don't leak, this one doesn't leak, just that one in the back. So it's kind of like, why do the other side? Even though it's seeping, I'm pretty sure that I'll put the new injector rings in that they're going to stop. But this one back here is defective. So now I'm probably just going to go buy a brand new like AEM or something like that fuel rail so I can get this bad boy started. And that's probably going to conclude the video. Oh my gosh, that freaking sucks. So you guys see that it's been a minute. We're back in the videos and stuff like that. What should I title this video? Don't buy, I don't know, don't buy in house brand fuel injector rails or something like that. But like as you can see, everything's like really installed. This is the actual holdup right now for the build. Leaking fuel injector rail. So I'm probably gonna go back in there now, go back to Summit or Jegs and look for a more name brand one and see what happens. Pop these injectors in, pop in these new O-rings, finally work on the base tune, because you can see it's just a regular 5.3. 5.3s come with like 23-pound injectors. We upped it up to 50-pound injectors, so we're getting double the fuel. I don't want to lock up this engine by basically dumping that much fuel. We gotta put a good base tune in it, fire it up, tune it from there, drop the drive shaft off at the drive shaft shop, shorten it, pop it in, then redo the brake lines, because we can't go for a test run without brakes. I do have the spool. I got all the brake hardware inside now, so that'll probably take me like a day to do and stuff like that. Next video, we're probably gonna weld the diff. Since the truck is still down, why not, you know, get that progress going, because we're back to making videos, baby. Yeah, so can't do nothing here. I may start taking off the rear and stuff like that, getting that prepped and dropping it off at the weld shop. People are gonna say, well, dude, you got a welder, do it yourself. No, that thick iron has to be a minimum of probably like a 225 welder. You really got to get in there and cook it, because I want a bulletproof permanent locking rear. I want like hardened steel in there spinning those axles, because like the only weak link I want in the rear is probably going to be the 28 spline factory axles. I am going to have to get C-clip eliminators, but C-clip eliminators combined with performance axles and a welded diff and a 10-bolt rear, you really can't go wrong. I see that hold up to probably like 800 horsepower, occasional 1,000 horsepower, cranking on it. But anyway, guys, we're back. That's going to conclude today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for buying the merch. It's keeping me afloat.